What's going on, everybody? Carolina Combat Media. Today we're back with Owen McMullen once again. Owen, thanks for joining the show.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so just kind of recapping your last year, you came off injury on the podium at States. Just kind of speak on, just that trajectory from being out and being able to get back in the lineup.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say definitely towards the beginning of the year, I had a little bit of a rocky start. Our schedule as a team, we start off hot. We hit Ironman, Beast of the East, and Powerade. And, coming down in weight, it definitely was a little bit of adjustment because I was used to wrestling up a little bit and higher of weight. But towards the end of the season, I started to really hit my groove. And I think that I really hit a groove when I got to the state tournament, and I was definitely used to the weight by then.
Speaking on that blood round match, we saw your interview after. Just speak on, that moment and be.
Yeah, that was definitely a very emotional day for sure. I just came off losing in the quarterfinals to Camden Baum, who's going to Purdue. He's a great kid, really tough wrestler, hard worker. But as soon as I walked off the mat and I was talking to my coaches, they were like, "Hey, you got to have a quick turnaround because a lot of the times when a guy falls in the quarterfinals, they usually lose in the blood round because they're not able to get their emotions in check." But yeah, that kid in the blood round, he's really good. He's going to Division 1. He's going to Lock Haven, I believe. But honestly, he's probably like the fourth best guy in that bracket. He was really tough. He held great position. And that was like the first of like 3 matches or 4 matches I had to grit out like 1-0. But yeah, ended up riding him out in the third, and it's just a wave of emotions. Being out last year or the year prior with injury, and saw my dad, and I went over and jumped up into his arms, gave him a big hug, and I was getting interviewed afterwards, and just a lot of emotions came out, from the past couple of years.
Obviously, the goal is always state champ, but you got third. Just speak on getting the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the goal going in was to be a state champion. I actually, the week before, I lost at my regional tournament, kind of off like a questionable call, but the mindset going in was, hey, go out on top. But yeah, like I said, in your previous question, as soon as I walked off the mat, coach was like, "Hey, you got to get your head back on and come back and get the next best thing because they kind of hit me hard and said, this is your last time wearing a Bishop McCourt singlet. And you definitely want to go out right." So, yeah, I re-locked back in and went on a pretty good run on the backside.
Now that the high school folk style season's over, just kind of what's your off-season schedule looking like? You plan to wrestle any freestyle? Just kind of what are you looking for this summer?
Yeah, so I've been. I just last weekend I hit up freestyle qualifier, and this weekend we're actually having our freestyle qualifier at McCourt. But other than that, I am doing the U.S. Open in Las Vegas in 3 weeks, and then I'm still on the fence about doing Fargo. I actually have one more year of eligibility, which I didn't know about, but I think Fargo, it's kind of been a rocky relationship with me and Fargo. I have not gotten what I wanted there. I've lost in blood rounds 2 times, so I'm I'm really thinking hard about doing it, and I think it would be really cool to do Fargo one last time and get on the podium. And hey,
Speaking of Virginia Tech, you flipped your commitment there. Just speak on just the relationships you've been able to build so far and just what excites you here.
yeah, I mean, when I was thinking about maybe flipping my or switching my commitment, when I took my visit down to Virginia Tech, I mean, it felt, excuse me, it felt like a true family. I want to say atmosphere right away. Like out in Iowa, I would say it was harder to kind of like build relationships because it was so far away from Pennsylvania and not being able to go up there a lot. And I didn't know any of the guys on the team out in Iowa, but at Virginia Tech, I knew guys like Aaron Seidel, Cullen Guy, Jimmy Mullen. I've had relationships with those guys in the past, and you know, when I took my visit there, it felt like family right away. And then the coaching staff, I can't speak highly enough of them, not only as coaches, but as people. Coach Roby, Coach Frere, Coach Hott, Coach Tonelli. I mean, they're really amazing coaches, but honestly, they're even better people.
Absolutely. On a personal level, this will be a little different. You're going to be moving to Blacksburg. Just speak on having to adjust. I mean, you will be with Bo, obviously, but just being away from your family really for the first time.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be different for sure. But I think having, a guy I've grown up with my whole life and honestly, my best friend, Bo, I think that'll make the transition a little bit easier. And, I was talking about that family aspect, if I'm, maybe a little bit homesick or, anything like that, I know the guys on the team will be there for me and the coaches. And, my family's only 5 hours away. It is from Pennsylvania to Blacksburg. So, you know, if I'm ever having any trouble there, they can obviously come up and see me. But I honestly don't think I'll have much trouble transitioning to college. I think I'm ready, and just being in that environment, I think it's going to make the transition very easy.
Maybe not particularly for, Virginia Tech or just the wrestling program. What's one of your favorite things about Blacksburg just as a city?
Yeah, it's such a nice campus, and everything's pretty close. Like, when we went to Caleb Henson's apartment, like he only lives 5 minutes away from the wrestling facility and like all the classes on campus. So it's very nice. We kind of joke about it. It's kind of like a mini, like I don't know, like New York City or mini Chicago. Like
Right.
it feels like a city, and yeah, it's full of great people. Very the people in Blacksburg are super nice. Everybody I've met so far, and yeah, it's definitely a very great place to be in. I'm very excited to get that move down there.
You wrestled in some college opens, but what do you think personally would be the biggest difference going from the high school level to the college level of wrestling for you personally?
Yeah. So McCourt, we've had, a couple guys already wrestling in the Division 1 level, and every guy that has come back and talked to us, we ask them like, hey, like what's the biggest difference from, high school wrestling to college? And honestly, they say two things almost every single time. One is the hand fight, and two is mat wrestling. So, I've been really trying to work on that, this past year, and just trying to get me a little bit more ready to go into college. But I would say those two things for sure.
Yeah, you've attended a couple of the RAFs. Just kind of what's it like experiencing those? We're trying to get out to one of those eventually, but something new for the sport.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's going to be the future of wrestling for sure. I mean, RAF does such an incredible job. Izzy Martinez is a great human, and he's doing something really special in the sport of wrestling. I mean, we've always, I think people in the wrestling community have always wanted like a professional league, like a WWE or an NFL or something like that, where these athletes can get paid because we don't have a professional league like once we're done with college, that unless you wrestle senior level, that's pretty much it. But if you're a football player, you can go pro. So that's basically our version of pro, and it's getting opportunity, giving athletes opportunities to get paid, and wrestle on Fox Sports. Like it's unbelievable. I mean, they do it really right with the production and the interviews and the media. I mean, it's awesome. I've been to three, and every time it's gotten better. So RF is doing an incredible job.
What'd you think about that reporter getting suplexed?
Yes, yeah, I
That was
actually did.
crazy.
That was that was crazy. Yeah, Kennedy, she's that's her move. Yeah, I did actually see that. I forgot about that. But that was funny for sure.
Yeah, for your high school career personally, what's your favorite moment or goal you hit?
Yeah, honestly, my favorite moment wasn't really even an individual accomplishment. It was when, so 2 years ago, our team wrestled Wyoming Seminary at Wyoming Seminary, and I was super bummed that I did not get to wrestle in that. But we got to host them this year, and I even lost. Like I wrestled a really good guy, Dale Corbin, and I lost really close. But honestly, my favorite accomplishment as a high school athlete was beating Wyoming Seminary at our home gym because they're a powerhouse, and that's been one of our goals as a program was to knock off teams like that and to do that in our home gym. And it came down to the very last match, very last sequence, and we were in it the whole time. And yeah, that's a moment I'll never forget, and that's probably my favorite high school memory for sure.
Yeah, now transitioning to the fan questions. We have a couple just joking ones, obviously. First, Bo wants to know what is a hokey?
I believe a hokey's a turkey. It's some kind of bird. So yeah, I think that's what a hokey is.
And then Keegan wants to know Panda Express or Chipotle.
Um, I would say Chipotle. Uh, Even if like you need something like after weigh-ins, that's a good option. But Panda Express can get a little bit iffy if you eat that after weigh-ins. So I'll go with Chipotle.
Yeah, now getting in the real fan questions. We slimmed them down some. But the first one's, what's your go-to weigh-in snack?
After weigh-ins, I like to get my hydration in first. I'll probably have like a Pedialyte or some sort of BCA electrolyte drink. And honestly, I like to keep it simple. I don't like to eat any meat because that is really hard to process right after weigh-ins. I'll probably just have like a bagel with peanut butter, Rice Krispie treats, something to get, carbs in, fast sugars right before I wrestle.
The next one says, which coach has helped you grow the most in your faith?
Wow. And my faith, coaches wise, I would say Coach Bassett for sure. I think we've kind of had a similar timeline for both of our faiths. A guy we like to give a shout out to a lot is Sam Herring. He's wrestling at Penn State now at the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club. He's honestly guided our team towards the faith aspect, and just feeding off of him and Coach Bill. They have been tremendous impacts on my faith journey. So I would like to give a lot of credit to them.
Yeah, what is your favorite song currently?
Ooh, favorite song currently? I like country a lot. So I would say something by Zach Bryan or something by Morgan Wallen. I can't name a specific song, but you put one of them on the radio, I'll listen to any of their songs.
If you could only wear one wrestling shoe for the rest of your career, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I definitely like to collect wrestling shoes. I'm a big shoe guy. If I had to wear one shoe for the rest of my career, it would be the Nike Inflict 3s. They have a lot of different colors and a lot of different colorways, and they're honestly probably the comfiest shoe I've ever worn.
Last one, what's your favorite cheat meal?
Cheat meal. Um, if we're going just like a main course, I would say wings. I love wings. But if we're going dessert, definitely some ice cream. Jack's Force has definitely gotten me
Yeah,
on the ice cream train. Ben and Jerry's for sure. So I would say one of those two.
well, Owen, it's great having you back on the show. Thanks for joining us today.
No, thank you. This was awesome.